right, beautiful people. Top of the day. Good morning. Betwabu, Sawubona. Y'all like my title for the day. Y'all know this National Black Superpowers Day, right? I couldn't resist with the title. But for real, our title is actually lining up with the reading for today, which actually blew my mind because it's talking about the secret powers, right? Not like what the world is talking about, but you'll see. All right, y'all. So I didn't even run in my mouth. I didn't even write my stuff in my notebook. Okay, let me do this real quick while I'm writing this in here. But what I will say is, hold on, let me do this. Before I lose my train of thought. I want Enoch 62. Okay. Okay, y'all, so happy Monday. It is December 21st, 2020, day 30 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 699. Yes, tomorrow we will rest, but Wednesday when we come back, we will be on day 700. Okay, Ali Yahoo, my other account can't log in. Okay. Hey, what? You still made it. Okay, y'all, so apparently, look, for real, about a week ago, I'm saying maybe 2 weeks ago, I didn't know anything about this Black Superpowers Day, right? So I started looking into it. I'm like, what in the world is they talking about? I'm like, the only superpower that I know of is when Yahuwah come back and pour out his spirit upon his people. That's what I'm looking at, right? But I started looking into a few groups, and I saw some things that had me cracking up. You know, Black people, they just take stuff and run with it. They create all kind of memes and stuff. And I was laughing so hard at some of these memes, my stomach was hurting, So last night, a bunch of YouTube videos started popping up about what's going to happen tomorrow and stuff, and different Black people with different superpowers and stuff. And I posted one of the videos that had like a compilation of some of the videos that people did. If you go on my Facebook page, you will see it. I was cracking up. For those of you that are on YouTube, it's Rap the News. He posted it. Black Superpower Day or something. I forget the title. But anyway, Rap the News posted it. But I was cracking up. So now, I'm going to be honest, for real. When I woke up, I'm like, nope, didn't work. I'm going to stick with what I know, right? No, seriously, me and Leisha, my sister, I'm not sure if she up here yet, but we were just joking with each other back and forth. She talking about she flying to work this morning. I was like, look, sis, FaceTime me when you in the air, so, but, it was cool. It was pretty funny. So, but yeah, I don't think people going to be getting superpowers, like what you're seeing on Facebook. But here is the truth that I do know, right? Okay. As the days are getting worse, I'm being biblical here about this now. Biblical or actual truth of what's going to happen, right? As times get completely worse, and y'all thought y'all seen evil in the world now, y'all have not seen evil face to face like what they were seeing in Noah's day, right? Noah's days type evil is going to come to the surface. And when Yahuwah allows that evil to surface, he has to pour out his spirit upon his people, right, in order to protect us. Remember what we just read about the supernatural spiritual weapons that Yahuwah dropped on his people. Granted, they lost it 40 days later because of their shenanigans, but this is real for those who are paying attention and have actually experienced supernatural things in the world. So, but also, when he dropped those supernatural gifts on them, he also sustained their spirits in such a way that they wouldn't go rogue with it. So if superpowers dropped on most of our people today, based on all the garbage we've been through, this entire world would be in trouble because we would have rogue Black superheroes all over this world. Like, I would be, seriously, if that had happened, I would be looking at Star Wars out my window right now if you would just drop that on most of our people today, but I think it is going to happen, and when scripture talks about it, he says he's going to pour out his spirit upon all flesh. Remember, when Yahuwah actually pours out his spirit, we've seen different instances of this when it happens, and it would seem to look like they have superpowers. Think about when the spirit was poured out upon Elijah and how he was able to run swifter than chariots and stuff. And like he was, they were teleporting and everything. All this is in scripture. They were teleporting. They were, so I believe that. I don't believe that it's going to happen today, and I could be wrong. I don't know. I ain't really getting into all the details and how they came up with today, but I do. They came up with today because of the great conjunction. And so it's just a lot of stuff that they put with that. And also people say, December 25th. And I'm like, hey, listen, when Yahuwah pours out his spirit is when he pours out his spirit. I just know I'm ready for it whenever that day comes. I was joking with my sister. I'm like, look, the only power that we know of is Yahuwah Sabaoth. And if he decides to drop a little something on the system, I won't be mad, So, but I would probably, I don't know, because I think I still may have some anger issues deep held within inside of me somewhere. I don't know that I will go out searching for people. Hey, remember when you I don't think I would do that. And then again, I don't know, because when a bunch of power is dropped on people, it just depends. So that's why we got to stay close to Yah. Let him clean out our hearts and stuff, because let us get a little bit of power. We can, I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you. We be Storm out in the street. Storm from the superhero Marvel movies and stuff. Anger and it'd be total disaster. I do think those days are still coming though, but I'm just saying it's going to be tempered a little bit with the power. It's going to be tempered a lot with the power of Yah, keeping us under control and doing what's right with it. Laugh aloud for real, since it's going to be a cloudy days when the new year of the heathens calendar. I believe that. Okay, y'all. So let's go ahead and do the Shema before we start reading. But this is gonna Enoch. What we're reading today in Enoch is gonna actually talk about secret powers, right? Okay. So let's do the Shema real quick. Deuteronomy. 6. Okay. Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the God of thy fathers, have promised thee, in the land that floweth with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah our God, he is one God. And thou shalt love Yahuwah thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and it shall be as frontlets between thy eyes. Remember, action and thoughts. And thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and upon thy gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes to fear him for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah our God, as he has commanded us. All right, y'all. So let's go to the reading today. And we are starting in Enoch Chapter 62, y'all. Here we go. Thus Yahuwah commanded the kings, the princes, the exalted, and those who dwell on the earth, saying, open your eyes and lift up your horns, if you are capable of comprehending the elect one. Yahuwah Sabaoth sat upon the throne of his glory, and the spirit of righteousness was poured out upon him. The word of his mouth shall destroy all the sinners and all the wicked, who shall perish at his presence. In that day shall all the kings, the princes, the exalted, and those who possess the earth stand up, behold, and perceive all that he is sitting on the throne of his glory, that before him the holy ones shall be judged in righteousness, and that nothing which shall be spoken before him shall be in vain. Trouble shall come upon them as upon a woman in travail, whose labor is severe when her child comes to the mouth of the womb, and she finds it difficult to bring forth. One portion of them shall look to another. They shall be astonished and shall humble their countenance, and trouble shall seize them when they shall behold this son of Adam sitting upon his throne of glory. Then shall kings, the princes, and all who possess the earth glorify him who has dominion over all things, him who was concealed from the beginning. The son of Adam existed in secret, which El Elyon preserved in the presence of his power and revealed to the elect. He shall sow the assembly of the holy ones and of the elect, and all the elect shall stand before him in that day. All the kings and princes, the exalted, and those who rule over all the earth shall fall down on their faces before him and shall worship him. They shall fix their hopes on this son of Adam, shall pray to him and petition him for mercy. Then shall Yahuwah Sabaoth hasten to expel them from his presence. Their faces shall be full of confusion, and their faces shall darkness cover. The angels shall take them to punishment, that vengeance may be afflicted upon those who have oppressed his children and his elect. And they shall become an example to the holy ones and to his elect. Through them shall these be made joyful, for the anger of Yahuwah Sabaoth shall rest upon them. Then the sword of Yahuwah Sabaoth shall be drunk with their blood, but the holy ones and elect shall be safe in that day, nor the face of sinners and the wicked shall they thenceforward behold. Yahuwah Sabaoth shall remain over them, and with his son of Adam shall they dwell, eat, lie down, and rise up forever and ever. The holy ones and the elect have risen from the earth, have left off to depress their countenance, and have been clothed with the garment of life. That garment of life is with Yahuwah Sabaoth, in whose presence your garment shall not wax old, nor shall your glory diminish. Enoch Chapter 63. In those days the kings who possess the earth shall be punished by the angels of his wrath, wheresoever they shall be delivered up, that he may give rest for a short period, and that they may fall down and worship before Yahuwah Sabaoth, confessing their sins before him. They shall bless and glorify Yahuwah Sabaoth, saying, Blessed is Yahuwah, Yahuwah of kings, Yahuwah of princes, Yahuwah of the rich, Yahuwah of glory, and Yahuwah of wisdom. He shall enlighten every secret thing. Your power is from generation to generation, and your glory forever and ever. Deep are all your secrets, and numberless, and your righteousness cannot be calculated. Now we know that we should glorify and bless Yahuwah of kings, who is king over all things. They shall also say, Who has granted us rest to glorify, laud, bless, and confess in the presence of his glory. And now small is the rest we desire, but we do not find. We reject, and we do not possess. Light has passed away from before us, and darkness our thrones forever. For we have not confessed before him. We have not glorified the name of Yahuwah of kings. We have not glorified Yahuwah in all his works, but we have trusted in the scepter of our dominion and our glory. In the day of our suffering and of our trouble, he will not save us, neither shall we find rest. We confess that our Adonai is faithful in all his works, in all his judgments, and in his righteousness. In his judgments he pays no respect to persons, and we must depart from his presence on account of our deeds. All our sins are truly without number. Then shall they say to themselves, Our souls are satisfied with the instruments of crime, but that prevents us not from descending into the flaming womb of Sheol. Afterwards their countenance shall be filled with darkness and confusion before the Son of Adam, whose presence they shall be expelled, and before whom the sword shall remain to expel them. Thus says Yahuwah Sabaoth, This is the decree and the judgment against the princes, the kings, the exalted, and those who possess the earth in the presence of Yahuwah Sabaoth. Enoch Chapter 64. I saw another countenance in that secret place. Okay. Okay. Alright, just say. I saw also other countenances in that secret place. I heard the voice of an angel saying, These are the angels who have descended from heaven to earth and have revealed secrets to the sons of men, and have seduced the sons of men to the commission of sin. All right, now we're going to do the last chapter for today, which is Enoch chapter 65, and this is a vision of Noah. In those days, Noah saw that the earth became inclined, and that the destruction approached. Then he lifted up his feet and went to the ends of the earth, to the dwelling of his great-grandfather Enoch. And Noah cried with a bitter voice, "Hear me, hear me, hear me," 3 times. And he said, "Tell me, what is this transacting upon the earth? For the earth labors and is violently shaking. Surely I shall perish with it." After this, there was a great perturbation on earth, and a voice was heard from heaven. I fell down on my face. When my great-grandfather Enoch came and stood by me, he said, "Why do you cry out to me with a bitter cry and lamentation? A commandment has gone forth from Yahuwah against those who dwell on the earth, that they may be destroyed. For they know every secret of the angels, every oppressive secret power of the devils, and every power of those who commit sorcery, as well as those who make molten in the whole earth. How silver is produced from the dust of the earth, and how on earth does the drop exist. For lead and tin are not produced from earth as the primary fountain of their production. There is an angel standing upon it, and that angel struggles to prevail. Afterwards, my great-grandfather Enoch seized me with his hand, raising me up and saying to me, "Go, for I have asked Yahuwah Sebawoti respecting this perturbation of the earth," who replied, "On account of their impiety have their innumerable judgments been consummated before me, because of the sorceries which they have searched out and learned. The earth and those who dwell upon it will be destroyed, and that to these there will be no refuge forever and ever. They have discovered secrets, those who have been judged, but not you, my son. Yahuwah Sebawoti knows that you are pure and good from the reproach of secrets. He, the Holy One, will establish your name in the midst of the holy ones, and will guard you from those who dwell upon the earth. He will establish your seed in righteousness for kings and for great glory, and from your seed shall spring forth righteousness and holy men without number forever." Okay, y'all, so that's where we're going to end this today, and where we're going to jump to today picks up right here with Noah. So we're about to get a little bit more detail on Noah and what is actually happening before this flood takes place. All right, so we're going to go back to volume 1 of Legends of the Jews, right? Volume 1. Volume 1, page 48. And when we left here, we actually stopped. Well, no, we read a little bit more of this. No, we did. We stopped here. We stopped here on December the 8th, and we left off with Methuselah. So we left Methuselah, and we went to some of the things, what happened with the children of Israel on the mountain, so I could remind you guys of everything that Yahuwah has said concerning us, and if we would just cry out to him, that he would be our God forever, right? You know, so okay. So back on page 48, we jump back here to right after Methuselah. Oh, let me find my envelope that I was using. There you go. Okay, I was all the way back in volume 4. Okay. All right. The birth of Noah. Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she bore him a man-child. The body of the babe was white as snow and red as a blooming rose, and the hair of his head and his long locks were white as wool, and his eyes like the rays of sun. When he opened his eyes, he lit up the whole house like the sun, and the whole house was very full of light. And when he was taken from the hand of the midwife, he opened his mouth and praised the Lord of righteousness. His father Lamech was afraid of him and fled and came to his own father Methuselah. And he said to him, "I have begotten a strange son. He is not like a human being, but resembles the children of the angels of heaven. And his nature is different, and he is not like us. His eyes are as the rays of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. And it seems to me that he is not sprung from me, but from the angels. And I fear that in his days a wonder may be wrought on earth. And now, my Father, I am here to petition thee and implore thee that thou mayest go to Enoch our father and learn from him the truth, for his dwelling place is among the angels. And if that sounds familiar, it does sound familiar, because if you read the book of Enoch all the way through, you will see the last chapter, Enoch Chapter 105, actually has this right here. And chapter 105, I believe, is a fragment of the book of Noah. Okay. And when Methuselah heard the words of his son, he went to Enoch to the ends of the earth, and he cried aloud, and Enoch heard his voice, and appeared before him, and asked him the reason for his coming. Methuselah told him the cause of his anxiety, and requested him to make known the truth to him. Enoch answered and said, Yahuwah will do a new thing in the earth. There will come a great destruction on the earth, a deluge for 1 year. This son who was born unto thee will be left on the earth, and his 3 children will be saved with him, when all mankind that are on the earth shall die. And there shall be a great punishment on the earth, and the earth will be cleansed from all impurity. And now make known to thy son Lamech that he who was born in truth is his son, and call his name Noah. For he will be left to you, and he and his children will be saved from the destruction which will come upon the earth. When Methuselah had heard the words of his father, he showed him all the secret things. When Methuselah had heard the words of his father, who showed him all the secret things, he returned home, and he called the child Noah, for he would cause the earth to rejoice in compensation for all destruction. By the name Noah he was called, only by his grandfather Methuselah. His father and all others called him Menahem. His generation was addicted to sorcery, and Methuselah apprehended that his grandson might be bewitched if his true name were known, wherefore he kept it a secret. Menahem, comforter, suited him well as Noah. It indicated he would be a consoler, but if the evildoers of his time would repent of their misdeeds. Okay, I read that too fast. Menahem, comforter, suited him well as Noah. It indicated that he would be a consoler if but the evildoers of his time would repent of their misdeeds. At his very birth, it was felt that he would bring consolation and deliverance. When Yahuwah said to Adam, Cursed is the ground for thy sake, he asked, For how long a time? And the answer made by Yahuwah was, Until a man-child shall be born, whose conformation is such that the rite of circumcision need not be practiced upon him. This was fulfilled in Noah. He was circumcised from his mother's womb. Noah had scarcely come into the world when a marked change was noticeable. Since the curse brought upon the earth by the sin of Adam, it happened that wheat being sown, yet oats would sprout and grow. This ceased with the appearance of Noah. The earth bore the products planted in it, and it was Noah who, when was grown to manhood, invented the plow, the scythe, the hoe, and other implements for cultivating the ground. Before him, men had worked the land with their bare hands. There was another token to indicate that the child born into Lamech was appointed for an extraordinary destiny. When Yahuwah created Adam, he gave him dominion over all things. The cow obeyed the plowman, and the furrow was willing to be drawn. But after the fall of Adam, all things rebelled against him. The cow refused obedience to the plowman, and also the furrow was refractory. Noah was born, and all returned to its state preceding the fall of man. Before the birth of Noah, the sea was in the habit of transgressing its bounds twice daily, morning and evening, and flooding the land up to the graves. After his birth, it kept within its confines, and the famine that afflicted the world in the time of Lamech, the second of the 10 great famines appointed to come upon it, ceased its ravages with the birth of Noah. Now we're going to jump right here to the fallen angels, which is the next section, which is some of what we've been reading all throughout the book of Enoch, and it lines up with also what we read today. Grown to manhood, Noah followed in the ways of his grandfather Methuselah, while all other men of the time rose up against this pious king. So far from observing his precepts, they pursued the evil inclination in their hearts and perpetrated all sorts of abominable deeds. Chiefly, the fallen angels and their giant posterity caused the depravity of mankind. The blood spilled by the giants cried unto heaven from the ground, and the 4 archangels accused the fallen angels and their sons before Yahuwah, whereupon he gave the following orders to them. Uriel was sent to Noah to announce to him that the earth would be destroyed by a flood and to teach him how to save his own life. Raphael was told to put the fallen angel Azazel into chains, cast him into a pit of sharp and pointed stones in the desert Dudael, and cover him with darkness. And so he was to remain until the great day of judgment, when he would be thrown into the fiery pit of hell, and the earth would be healed of the corruption he had contrived upon it. Gabriel was in charge of proceeding against the bastards and the reprobates, the sons of the angels begotten with the daughters of men, and plunged them into deadly conflicts with one another. Shemihazah's ilk were handed over to Michael, who first caused them to witness the death of their children in their bloody combat with each other, and then he bound them and pinned them under the hills of the earth, where they will remain for 70 generations until the day of judgment, to be carried thence to the fiery pit of hell. The fall of Azazel and Shemhazah came about in this way. When the generation of the Deluge began to practice idolatry, Yahuwah was deeply grieved. The 2 angels, Shemhazah and Azazel, arose and said, O Lord of the world, it has happened, that which we foretold at the creation of the world and of man, saying, What is man that thou art mindful of him? And Yahuwah said, And what will become of the world now without man? Whereupon the angels, We will occupy ourselves with it. Then said Yahuwah, I am well aware of it, and I know that if you inhabit the earth, the evil inclination will overpower you, and you will be more iniquitous than men would ever be. The angels pleaded, Grant us but permission to dwell among men, and thou shalt see how we will sanctify thy name. Yahuwah yielded to their wish, saying, Descend and sojourn among men. When the angels came to the earth and beheld the daughters of men in all their grace and beauty, they could not restrain their passion. Shemihazah saw a maiden named Ishtar, and he lost his heart to her. She promised to surrender herself to him if he first taught her the ineffable name by means of which he raised himself to heaven. Remember how I said a few days ago, I'm absolutely sure that we do not know the ineffable name of Yah. I know that there's these big debates going on between Yahuwah's people. His name is Yah, Yahusha, Yahawashai, all these different names, but I can absolutely guarantee you that Yahuwah hears us, first of all of our hearts who are pure towards him, even if you're calling him a name out of ignorance, but he knows in your heart that you are talking to him. You're just ignorant of what his name is. I'm absolutely sure that we don't know the ineffable name, because when his ineffable name is spoken, things happen. That's how the angels ascend back to heaven. When they spoke the ineffable name upon the earth, there were supernatural things that happened immediately. And he said, matter of fact, if you continue to read through this, when Yahuwah's people got in trouble, all they had to do was mention his name, say his ineffable name. And you know what happened? They were saved, which brings light to the scriptures. All those who call upon my name shall be saved. It gave me a whole different understanding of his name. But I thank Yahuwah, even in our ignorance, that he still hears us. But I think that is also a protection, because that would be superhero power time if we knew that name, right? So it's not just yet, but when he pours out his spirit, I'm sure he's going to reveal to us what is his true name, the ineffable name. So listen to this, what happened when he taught this daughter of the sons of the dirt, the sons of Adam, here the flesh. Listen to what happened when she spoke the ineffable name of Yah, right? And this is not the only instance. There are a lot of things. Okay. When the angels came to the earth and beheld the daughters of men in all their grace and beauty, they could not restrain their passion. Shemhaza saw a maiden named Ishtar, and he lost his heart to her. She promised to surrender herself to him if first he taught her the ineffable name, by means of which he raised himself to heaven. He assented to her condition, but once she knew it, she pronounced the name and herself ascended to heaven, without fulfilling her promise to the angel. Yahuwah said, because she kept herself aloof from sin, we will place her among the 7 stars, that men may never forget her. And she was put in the constellation of Pleiades. Shemhaza and Azazel, however, were not deterred from entering into alliances with the daughters of men, and to them the first 2 sons were born. Azazel began to devise the finery and the ornaments by means of which women allure men. Thereupon Yahuwah sent Metatron to tell. Remember, Metatron is Enoch. Remember, we read over that part and how he was changed, right? And Yahuwah gave him a new name, which was Metatron. Thereupon Yahuwah sent Metatron to tell Shemhaza that he had resolved to destroy the world and bring on a deluge. The fallen angel began to weep and grieve over the fate of the world and the fate of his 2 sons. If the world went under, what would they have to eat? They who needed daily 1,000 camels, 1,000 horses, and 1,000 steers. These 2 sons of Shemhaza, Hiwa and Haya by name, dreamed dreams. The one saw a great stone which covered the earth, and the earth was marked all over with lines upon lines of writing. An angel came and with a knife obliterated all the lines, leaving but 4 letters upon the stone. The other son saw a large pleasure grove planted with all sorts of trees. But angels approached bearing axes, and they felled the trees, sparing a single one with 3 of its branches. When Hiwa and Haya awoke, they repaired to their father, who interpreted the dreams for them, saying, Yahuwah will bring a deluge, and none will escape with his life, excepting Noah and his sons. When they heard this, the 2 began to cry and scream, but their father consoled them, soft, do not grieve. As often as men cut or hurl stones or launch vessels, they shall invoke your name, Hiwa, Haya. This prophecy soothed them. I think I know about some of these people that's doing this today. We ain't gonna get into all that, but they invoking the names of fallen angels, y'all. And let's not forget about CERN and all their shenanigans and what they trying to do. They literally trying to lose the angels who Yahuwah have set in the depths of the earth until judgment. You got some people there losing their mind. People are quitting CERN because of some of the eerie crap that's happening there. I'm like, y'all better quit playing. Y'all better quit playing around. Shemhaza then did penance. He suspended himself between heaven and earth, and in this position of a penitent sinner, he hangs to this day. But Azazel persisted obdurately in his sin of leading mankind astray by means of sensual allurements. For this reason, 2 he-goats were sacrificed in the temple on the Day of Atonement, one for God that pardons the sins of Israel, the other for Azazel that he bears the sins of Israel. And I believe we read about that also in, is it Deuteronomy? It could be. It's either, it's Leviticus. I think it's Leviticus. I think that scripture is in Leviticus. Don't quote me, but I'm almost certain that scripture is in Leviticus. Okay. Unlike Ishtar, the pious maiden, Naamah, the lovely sister of Tubal-Cain, led the angels astray with her beauty, and from her union with Shamdan sprang the devil Asmodeus. I know if everybody heard the name Asmodeus. They even use that name in movies. She was as shameless as all the other descendants of Cain, and as prone to bestial indulgences. Canaanite women and Canaanite men alike were in the habit of walking abroad naked, and they gave themselves up to every conceivable manner of lewd practices. Of such were the women whose beauty and sensual charms tempted the angels from the path of virtue. The angels, on the other hand, no sooner had they rebelled against Yahuwah and descended to the earth than they lost their transcendental qualities, and they were invested with sublunary bodies, so that the union with the daughters of men became possible. The offspring of these alliances between the angels and the Canaanite women were the giants, known for their strength and their sinfulness, as this very name, the Emim, indicates. They inspired fear. They have many other names. Sometimes they go by the name Rephaim, because at one glance at them they made men's hearts grow weak, or by the name Gibborim, simply giants, because their size was so enormous that their thigh measured 18 ells, or by the name Zamzumin, because they were great masters in war, or by the name of Anakim, because they touched the sun with their neck, or by the name Ivim, because, like the snake, they could judge of the qualities of the soil, or finally by the name Nephilim, because bringing the world to its fall, they themselves fell. Okay, I'm going to read this next section, and hopefully we'll get to this section with the Holy Book. Okay. The generation of the Deluge. While the descendants of Cain resembled their father in his sinfulness and depravity, the descendants of Seth led a pious, well-regulated life, and the difference between the conduct of the two stocks was reflected in their habitations. The family of Seth was settled upon the mountains in the vicinity of paradise, while the family of Cain resided in the field of Damascus, the spot whereon Abel was slain by Cain. Unfortunately, at the time of Methuselah, following the death of Adam, the family of Seth became corrupted after the manner of the Canaanites. The two strains united with each other to execute all kinds of iniquitous deeds. The result of the marriages between them were the Nephilim, whose sins brought the deluge upon the world. In their arrogance, they claimed the same pedigree as the posterity of Seth, and they compared themselves with princes and men of noble descent. The wantonness of this generation was in a measure due to the ideal conditions under which mankind lived before the flood. They knew neither toil nor care, and as a consequence of their extraordinary prosperity, they grew insolent. In their arrogance, they rose up against Yahuwah. A single sowing bore a harvest sufficient for the needs of 40 years, and by means of magic arts, they compelled the very sun and moon to stand ready to do their service. The raising of children gave them no trouble. They were born after a few days of pregnancy, and immediately after birth they could walk and talk, and they themselves aided the mother in severing the navel string. I'm like, what the crap? I'm like, okay, so clearly that doesn't happen with human beings, and we clearly know that what this just said was this was the offspring of those who had sex with the angels. So they can get pregnant, and a few days later they can actually bear the child. And just like animals, you see a deer have a baby, that same day that deer is up and running because he got to run for his life. I'm like, my G, they doing this? This is what they was doing in Noah's day? So if we clearly look around, we're not quite, unless a lot of things, unless we're being kept in a cage and this stuff is happening in other places and it's not being televised to us, right? If this is happening and we are truly living in Noah's day, there's some great things that's about to happen on this earth right here. So this is some of the stuff that was happening in Noah's day. And I have a couple other manuscripts that I've been looking over that gives accounts from the other sides that tell some of the stuff. I'm like, if this stuff is happening now, surely it's all being hidden from our eyesight. Because this, who would be able to live under these type of conditions? So listen to this, y'all. Hold on, let me read this. Let me go back up. The raising of children gave them no trouble. They were born after a few days of pregnancy, and immediately after birth, they could walk and talk. They themselves aided their mother in the severing of the navel string. Not even demons could do them harm. Once a newborn babe, running to fetch a light whereby his mother might cut the navel string, met the chief of the demons, and a combat ensued between the two. First of all, my G, how long is this navel string y'all had? You've heard of UFOs, yes? Yeah, that's what they, you know what? Uncle Nathaniel, you're right. They got this stuff. Let me tell you what they do. Because how technology has progressed over the time, and you got Photoshop and stuff. So with all this stuff being put in, they just like putting stuff out, right? And so now I'm of the mindset that although a lot of people who may not have had spiritual encounters, they may think, oh, this is Photoshop, blah, blah, and they're steady staying asleep. But those of us who've had supernatural encounters with otherworldly entities know that something else is going on here. And this may not be Photoshop. What's happening is they've created this flow that we're living in life now, to where everything, you got these times we Photoshop this, that's Photoshop. They bring out things, oh no, that was Photoshop. That eagle didn't really come swoop down that baby, that was a Photoshop thing. So what they're doing, they're preparing your minds to see stuff like this, but still at the same time they're causing you to disregard it. You know, it's like they're lulling you back to sleep. So now they can actually put real live things that's happening in real life that hasn't been Photoshopped. They just put it out there. They don't have to hide it now. They don't have to come up with other things, because they've already got that process set in stone, so to speak. And now all these wicked things that's out there, and people just fly right past. That's Photoshop. Yeah, okay. Now some stuff may be Photoshop, but some stuff eerily seems to come out of the computer screen, and it seems to be more real than not, and it's scary, right? Yes. Yeah. I've heard of Area 51. Yep. I know it's a lot of shenanigans, but also a lot of truth surrounding a lot of this stuff. I've always felt like the worst is yet to come, that'll bring us to seek the Most High help, because right now most of our people aren't hearkening to the Most High with one heart. You got that right. Like the days of Noah, most will be distracted till they see the real events unfolding in their, you're right, and realize the Most High is supreme. You got that right, Aliyah. So listen, while everybody, they being prepared for this, looking at it on their TV screens and their laptops and their phone or whatever kind of device they have, they're being prepared. But what they're not going to be prepared for is actually seeing this in real life, walking down their streets. And that's why men's hearts are going to fail them for fear of all the evil that's coming upon this place. And I'm telling y'all, if y'all know like I do, y'all better stay close to y'all. Y'all better get this Torah, his words of life instruction, down inside of your very being. Meditate on it day and night. Meditate on it day and night. If you get tired of reading, stick a earbud in your ear. Just let it play out in the atmosphere. If you can, if you're at home, you better let it play. You better get this inside of your children. I'm telling y'all. I'm just telling y'all what I know. And especially, let me also tell you something. Just like Yahuwah's people or the church world, they get prophecies which indeed come from Yahuwah himself, just like this. When Yahuwah told Enoch and he told Methuselah and revealed to Noah that a great deluge was coming upon this place, the other side also gets prophecies. It may not come from Yah, but the demons know, the otherworldly entities know what Yahuwah has decreed, and he will also let them know. Because in some of the other manuscripts, it wasn't just Yahuwah's people that knew and their offspring who had went off. Everybody knew. The giants knew. Everybody knew that a great flood was coming. They may word it a little different, but they're talking about the same event, right? and they call it by other things. But if you understand what Yahuwah has said, you can see how each nation is saying the same thing, but using their language, but they're foretelling the same thing that Yahuwah has decreed. I'm telling you. If y'all know like I know, y'all better straighten up. Listen, okay, let me go back up here. They were born after a few days of pregnancy, and immediately after birth, they could walk and talk. They themselves aided the mother in severing the navel string. Not even demons could do them harm. Once a newborn babe, running to fetch a light whereby his mother might cut the navel string, met the chief of the demons, and a combat ensued between the two. Suddenly, the crowing of a cock was heard, and the demon made off, crying out to the child, "Go and report unto thy mother. If it had not been for the crowing of the cock, I had killed thee." Whereupon the child retorted, "Go and report unto thy mother. If it had not been for my uncut navel string, I would have killed thee." And I'm like, oh snap. It was their carefree life that gave them space and leisure for their infamies. For a time, Yahuwah, in his long-suffering kindness, passed by the iniquities of men, but his forbearance ceased when once they began to lead unchaste lives. For Yahuwah is patient with the sins. Hold on. I gotta go back. I was reading it too fast. For a time, Yahuwah, in his long-suffering kindness, passed by the iniquities of men, but his forbearance ceased when they began to lead unchaste lives. For Yahuwah is patient with all sins, except only an immoral life. The other sin that hastened to the end of the iniquitous generation was their rapacity. So cunning were their So cunningly were their deprivations planned that the law could not touch them. If a countryman bought a basket of vegetables to market, they would edge up to it, one after the other, and abstract a bit, each itself of a petty value, but in a little while the dealer would have none left to sell. Wait a minute. If a countryman bought a basket of vegetables to market, they would edge up to it, one after the other, and extract a bit, each in itself of petty value, but in a little while the dealer would have none left to sell. Okay. Clearly, remember when we read through Sodom and Gomorrah, this is one of the things that was happening in Sodom and Gomorrah. Remember when somebody would come through to sell their stuff? You know, the inhabitants of Sodom and Gomorrah, they would literally rob this merchant of all their stuff and say that they didn't do it, while flaunting in their face, "Oh no, you did sell me this for this little amount, and I did take it." You know, they were playing Jedi mind tricks on the people who would come through. So this is definitely one of the things that was happening, which is why Sodom and Gomorrah got poof, pow, gone out of here, right? Listen. Even after Yahuwah had resolved upon the destructions of sinners, he still permitted his mercy to prevail, and that he sent Noah unto them, who exhorted them for 120 years to amend their ways, always holding the flood over them as a threat. As for them, they but derided him. When they saw him occupying himself with building an ark, they asked, "Wherefore art this ark?" Noah, Yahuwah will bring a flood upon you, the sinners. What sort of flood? If he sends a fire, listen, remember we read this the other day? Listen. What sort of flood? If he sends a fire flood, against that we know how to protect ourselves. Remember, there was the blood of the I think it was a salamander, because remember King Hezekiah's father offered him up to the fires of Molech, but his mother, when he was a baby, she covered him in the blood of a salamander, in which when his father went to offer him up to Molech, to sacrifice King Hezekiah to Molech, the fire had no power over him, right? Because it talks about the blood of the salamander. And y'all got to think about it. Some of these rituals and witchcraft and blood sacrifice things that they be doing, like Satan worshipers and stuff that they be doing, all of this stuff is making sense to me, right? It probably make more sense to me than it does to some of you, because when I was active duty military, when I went TAD to the MEX decks, or temporarily assigned duty, and I was I had duty on the mess decks, there was this gentleman there who was a full practicing warlock, and he was into Wicca and stuff. And first I was like, oh, and I didn't want to say nothing because I didn't want him to like cast a spell on me or anything. But he was a pretty cool guy. So, but every day before I would go to work down, I'm like, Father, you got to keep me safe. I don't know what this warlock may try and do, because I understood there are unseen powers, and I didn't realize that I was coming into close proximity with somebody who does this stuff and who freely talks about it. It was a Caucasian guy, but he was cool people though. I'm just like, look, don't, when he would start talking about, I was like, what you talking about now? Okay, look, don't be trying none of that stuff down here because we might have to go toe to toe. My God is the same God of Elijah, and we don't need this out here while we out to sea, bro. He was like, no, he said, but it's pretty cool, ain't nothing. He used to try and tell me about some of the little spells, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need to know none of that. I don't need to know none of that. But when he would be talking to other people and I'd be cleaning, I would be paying attention just to make sure I'm watching my back, make sure this dude ain't trying nothing. So, but he was talking about like, look, blood sacrifices and different things. And I know y'all seen the movie, some movie stars wearing vials of blood around their neck and how it's disgusting, but this stuff is making sense to me. All my years of growing up and different things that I've done in life and different experiences, it's all beginning to make sense with some of the things that were actually going on in the days of Noah, which we can see bits of it happening in our time today, right? We should not suffer a witch and live, says the Most High. The time of righteousness is nigh. You got that right. What I'm saying, listen, I'm telling y'all, this stuff is real. This stuff is real out here. All right. Okay. Let me go back here before I get too sidetracked. Noah, Yahuwah will bring a flood upon you, the sinners. What sort of flood? If he sends a fire flood, against that we know how to protect ourselves. We know that's with the blood of a salamander. You just got to go back there and read that. If it is a flood of waters, then if the waters bubble up from the earth, we will cover them with iron rods. And if they descend from above, we know a remedy against that too. Noah, the waters will ooze out from under your feet, and you will not be able to ward them off. Partly they persisted in their abduracy of heart, or let's just say hardness of heart, because Noah had made known to them that the flood would not descend so as long as the pious Methuselah sojourned among them. The period of 120 years which Yahuwah had appointed as a term of their probation have expired. Methuselah died, but out of regard for the memory of this pious man, Yahuwah gave them another week's respite, the week of mourning for him. During this time of grace, the laws of nature were suspended. The sun rose in the west and set in the east. To the sinners, Yahuwah gave the daintiest that await man in the future world, for the purpose of showing them what they were forfeiting. But all this proved unavailing, and Methuselah and the other pious men of the generation, having departed this life, Yahuwah brought the deluge upon the earth. And we also read about that in the book of Noah, where it says that Yahuwah allowed all the righteous people to die off before the flood, except for Noah and his family. Okay, y'all, let's read the holy book real quick, and then we'll be done for the day. Listen to this. Great wisdom was needed for building the ark, which was to have a space for all beings on the earth, even the spirits. Only the fish did not have to be provided for. Noah acquired the necessary wisdom from the book given to Adam by the angel Raziel, in which all celestial and all earthly knowledge is recorded. Remember when we read about the book of Raziel a few days back? This is where he got that wisdom from. And not only Noah, but listen to who else got this wisdom. I'm like, where is this book, Father? Listen. Noah acquired the necessary wisdom from the book given to Adam by the angel Raziel, in which all celestial and all earthly knowledge is recorded. While the first human pair were still in paradise, it once happened that Samael, accompanied by a lad, okay, y'all, so this is one of the things that we putting in the what the crap box, right? Because I don't quite understand this, but I'm going to read it because we already here. I forgot this was coming up, but I don't want to skip nothing. I ain't trying to hide nothing, but I'm just like, yeah, I don't, okay, all right. Listen. While the first human pair were still in paradise, it once happened that Samael, accompanied by a lad, approached Eve and requested her to keep a watchful eye upon his little son until he should return. Eve gave him the promise. When Adam came back from a walk in paradise, he found a howling, screaming child with Eve, who, in reply to his question, told him it was Samael's. Adam was annoyed, and his annoyance grew as the boy cried and screamed more and more violently. In his vexation, he dealt the little one a blow that killed him, but the corpse did not cease to wail and weep, nor did it cease when Adam cut it up into bits to rid himself of the plague. Adam cooked the remains, and he and Eve ate them. That's why I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know about this, but I'm gonna keep reading. Just trek with me, y'all. We gonna figure this out. Scarcely had they finished when Samael appeared and demanded his son. The two malefactors tried to deny everything. They pretended they had no knowledge of his son. But Samael said to them, "What? You dare to tell lies, and Yahuwah in times to come will give Israel the Torah, in which it is said, 'Keep thee far from a false word.'" While they were speaking thus, suddenly the voice of the slain lad was heard proceeding from the heart of Adam and Eve, and it addressed these words to Samael: "Go hence, I have penetrated to the heart of Adam and the heart of Eve, and never again shall I quiet their hearts, nor the hearts of their children, nor their children's children unto the end of all generations." Samael departed, but Adam was sore grieved, and he put on sackcloth and ashes, and he fasted many, many days, until Yahuwah appeared unto him and said, "My son, have no fear of Samael. I will give thee a remedy that will help thee against him, for it was at my instance that he went to thee." Adam asked, "And what is this remedy?" Yahuwah, "The Torah." Adam, "Where is the Torah?" Then Yahuwah gave him the book of the angel Raziel, which he studied day and night. After some time had passed, the angels visited Adam, and envious of the wisdom he had drawn from the book, they sought to destroy him cunningly by calling him a god and prostrating themselves before him. In spite of his remonstrance, "Do not prostrate yourself before me, but magnify Yahuwah with me, and let us exalt his name together." However, the envy of the angels was so great that they stole the book Yahuwah had given to Adam from him and threw it in the sea. Adam searched for it everywhere in vain, and the loss distressed him sorely. And he fasted many days, until Yahuwah appeared unto him and said, "Fear not, I will give the book back to thee." And he called Rahab, the angel of the sea, and ordered him to recover the book from the sea and restore it to Adam. And so he did. Upon the death of Adam, the holy book disappeared, but later the cave in which it was hidden was revealed to Enoch in a dream. It was from this book that Enoch drew his knowledge of nature, of the earth, and of the heavens, and he became so wise through it that his wisdom exceeded the wisdom of Adam. Once he had committed it to memory, Enoch hid the book again. Now, when Yahuwah resolved to bring the flood upon the earth, he sent the archangel Raphael to Noah as the bearer of the following message: "I will give thee herewith the holy book, that all the secrets and mysteries written therein may be made manifest unto thee, and that thou mayest know how to fulfill its injunction in holiness, purity, modesty, and humbleness. Thou wilt learn from it how to build an ark of the wood of the gopher tree, wherein thou and thy sons and thy wife shall find protection." Noah took the book, and when he studied it, the Holy Spirit came upon him, and he knew all things needed for the building of the ark and the gathering together of the animals. The book, which was made of sapphires, he took with him into the ark, having first enclosed it in a golden casket. All the time he spent in the ark, it served him as a timepiece to distinguish night from day. Before his death, he entrusted it to Shem, and he in turn to Abraham. From Abraham, it descended through Jacob, Levi, Moses, and Joshua to Solomon, who learned all his wisdom from it, and his skill in the healing art, and also the mastery over the demons. And that is our reading for today. This book actually gets into a nice big section of King Solomon and what happened. And there are also some manuscripts out there that I mentioned before about King Solomon. And on YouTube, a couple of them are read, which goes into detail with King Solomon, actually how he had power over the demon spirit. So also, if you know anything about Freemasons who and what they do, and they always talk about the Temple of Solomon and stuff, I'm telling you, no religion or religious sect out here has not stolen from the wisdom that Yahuwah has given to his people. They've taken it and they split it all up, and they use it for evil. They use it for evil. But it talks about that, and when you read about that, I began, because I know a few Freemasons as well, and some of them have shared some of the things of secrecy with me. Like all the knowledge that I've gathered that I thought was just willy-nilly knowledge that has come to me over my life is now all beginning to make sense. And I'm able to track back the origin of all of this stuff and how it happened. And I'm learning how to decipher good from evil, truth from error. I'm telling you, it's so good. But that's our reading for today, beautiful people. That was the Legends of the Jews reread, page 48 to 52. We read Enoch Chapter 62 through 65. It is Monday, December 21st, 2020. Remember, Black Superhero Power Day. Black People's Superhero Power Day. Whatever, But anyway, we talked about that at the beginning. That's today, December 21st, 2020. Anyway, it is day 30 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, also known as the books of instruction as handed down from Yahuwah himself. And of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 699. Yep, 699. Wednesday, we will be on day 700 because tomorrow we're going to take a break. We're going to rest. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and do this blessing, which is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. And remember, the first 21 verses is the Nazarite vow, right? Okay. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. Love y'all. Yes, according to how we are calculating it, remember the new moon fell on last Tuesday. So remember, Sabbaths line up with the new moons. So yes, it will be Tuesday. Yes, sir. Tomorrow, Shabbat. We resting. All right, y'all. I love y'all. And I will... Oh, hold on. We got a couple comments. Hold on. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Everybody got to cut out. Oh, man, it's a lot of comments that popped up. Okay, hold on. Make sure... See if I need to answer something real quick. The Most High is pouring out a spirit of confusion upon his enemies, so that his glory will reign. Okay. Which came from a household. But praise the Most High, he always kept me set apart from my family, even though I'm a black sheep unto them. Okay, well, amen, Aliyah, for Yahuwah keeping you. Yes, and amen. For Yahuwah keeping all of us. All right, y'all. I love y'all. And I see y'all Wednesday morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.